Everybody, it's Kelly and I'm back with another layout today, and today's layout is for December's product playground. And if you're new to my channel, and there's quite a few of you lately, that is a series that I do with Rachel Reynolds, who is another YouTuber, and we pick a supply every month and we use it on a layout. So we try to use a lot of it, or think of using it in a new way, or flat out just use it to use it up. So this month we're doing 6x6 or 6x8 paper pads. I'm probably just going to do this 6x6 pad just because the coloration is a little bit different than any other pad I have. I don't know if you can tell the difference here, but actually maybe I can show you the difference. The pad is, let me tell you what that is. It's American Crafts Soho Garden. It's from 2012, you guys. So what I did is I went and I grabbed my oldest pad, and here's one of the papers compared to white. They're very almost newsprinty like, and that's because it's part of it is the kind of collection it was, but also it's an older collection and we were still doing some of the creaminess in those collections. So this is the project I'm going to pick. And then this is the photo I'm going to use. This is an old photo. It's circa 2001. It's August of 2001, but I don't know exactly what day it is. And the reason I know that is this is me right here, and this is my wedding shower. So I got engaged and married in 8 weeks and 6 days. I got married 8 weeks and 6 days after we got engaged, but there's a whole story behind that. And no, I was not pregnant. We were just moving. So anyway, my poor sister, this is my sister here, ended up having to figure out how to throw me a very quick wedding shower. And I can't believe, when I think about this is 18 years ago. It feels like yesterday. Anyway, so this is a group of my high school friends. And what ended up happening is we were going through the memorial photos for her memorial service. And one of my friends had this photo that I do not have. So I'm going to scrapbook this because this is all of us. I could have blown this up, but I think I'm just going to scrapbook it as is. I don't know what the photo quality is here because this is pre-digital. The photo is, my friend had scanned all these, and I'm going to crop this because, my sister's garden is there, because I don't know who is taking this, but it wasn't the photographers in the family because that's me and my friend Kathy. So the other story behind this is, we're missing two friends from high school here, but these two women right here have both passed away and both had breast cancer. In her case, she was diagnosed in her late 30s, passed away in her early 40s, and my friend here diagnosed in her early 50s and just passed away this year. So this is an important photo to me for lots of different reasons. So I'm going to scrapbook this. And I'll choose some papers. But before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about something. So Rachel and I have been doing Product Playground for about a year. And we've gone through one whole set. And we're just coming on to, we just started another whole set, I don't know, about 5 or 6 months ago. And we're getting a little bored with it. Not that it's not a great thing to do. But what we've decided to do is coming January 1st, we're going to do a new series together. So our new series will be called Stash Bash with Rachel and Kelly, or Kelly and Rachel, whichever way we end up saying it. But Rachel had the idea to do this one. I actually think she even had the idea to do the last one when she just shot me an email or a Facebook message and said, do you want to do something together? But anyway, I think she had the idea for this as well, because she happened to be watching one of my videos, and I mentioned that I am on a spending freeze right now, and I'm going to try to do it for a year. Now, I will tell you, I have bought a little bit of product, really because I got a gift certificate from someone who, Rhonda, who I just did a haul about that. So I'm allowed to spend money and buy scrapbook supplies either when I get a gift certificate or when I get paid from YouTube, which is very few and far between. I think I mentioned this. You don't do YouTube to make money. Well, some people do. I don't do it that way. I have a full-time job, and although I love doing this, I do it more for fun than I do anything else. So Rachel and I are going to bash our stashes. And we have lots of different ideas about what we can do. So sometimes it's going to be something like a recipe challenge or a sketch or something like that. Sometimes it'll be like pick a manufacturer. Sometimes it'll be like pick an embellishment. Sometimes it might be pick the oldest embellishment in your stash. Sometimes it might be pick something not before your whatever. And if you're a newer scrapbooker, you know, obviously you'll be able to modify these. But we want to inspire you to use up your stash because it's so nice to play with all the pretty things. But since I've been doing this since September, I have just had so much fun rediscovering things like this 7-year-old paper pad. So let me quick go through, and I'm going to pick some papers here. Now I know this teacup paper is here, and I think that would be fun to use. It's really busy, but it just reminds me of girlfriends. So just kind of seeing colors that might work. I like this pink. Oh, I also like this yellow, and the pink would set this off too, but I think it's almost too much, but I think the yellow does a nice job of setting that off. There's no blue in here, but I like that. Let's see. I'm just pulling the loose paper. Ooh, I like the idea of maybe using a floral. But the thing I don't love about that floral is that there's no pink in it, but this one has pink. So let's look at that. So now I'm thinking, ooh, there's also this floral too. But you know what? I think these two are too close, and I could use, you know, this and this, but I actually like the dark background. So I'm going to say no to this one, although I do like it a lot. That I think takes, you know, like the color away, but no, that's so, I'm not going to use this one. I could use this in place of that, but I don't like that. But this could also go behind here somehow. And I do kind of like that as well. Let me think. Let me think. Of course I get to think, right? It's my video. And I thought this would be kind of fun for you guys to see my thought process about how I do these things. You know, how I determine what I'm going to use. I do love this. This red, I don't think I want to use it. It's hearts, but not my favorite. There's this little dictionary-like paper. Let's see. Maybe we just leave it like this. Maybe what I could do is maybe even include this somewhere in the background, since I do like that. So I'm not quite sure. Now, as I'm arranging these, that's also something to think about how you want to arrange things. And for some reason, this is so crazy, you guys, but I like, let's see. I'm kind of playing with how this goes. And I think the two faux solids, faux because they're not really solid, need to go across from each other. Oh, and obviously you can see, I'm thinking a quadrant layout, which is one of the easiest ways to do these. Okay, yeah. I don't know why, but I really like it with the, okay, so look at it that way. For some reason, I like it like this. And I don't know why. And maybe it's just because these are so patterned and we read left to right in English-speaking countries. And so maybe that's why, because I start with a pattern and I end with a pattern. That might be it. I don't know. I'm not sure that there's a good design reason for that, but whatever. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is grab some sort of paper to mount this all on. I might do it on a black paper, or I could do it on like a green that maybe I wouldn't use as much, just in case you see a little bit of this. You shouldn't, but you know, that does happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn Rachel's latest live on, and I'm watching this the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I know her layout's done because we were talking about it already. But I'm going to turn Rachel's latest live on, so I feel like I'm scrapbooking with her. We have not met in real life, but in some ways, because I watch her videos and watched her videos long before we started doing Product Playground together. And actually we did something else even before that series, before the Product Playground. But anyway, so it's kind of fun that I get to, quote, scrapbook with her, right? So someday maybe I'll make it out to where she lives and we can actually meet in person. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to chop this photo, go find a piece of paper to use, and then I will get started. Hope this kind of helped you understand why I might pick things that I might pick. And maybe as I'm looking at this, maybe it's better to do like that so that this sits in between those two, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Oh, and don't forget your wine, because I have mine. All right, bye, everybody. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I forgot to say one thing. Don't forget to check out the description of my video, because I will have the link to Rachel's video in that description. And I also have a playlist for all the Product Playground layouts that I have done, and then Rachel's channel link would be in those as well too, so check that out as well. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just adhering the 4 6x6 pieces of paper to that background paper, which is just a piece of Basil cardstock. I usually like to go for a piece of cardstock that I might not use. I just don't use as much cardstock for backgrounds, but also something that would work with the colors of the layout in case you can see the reveal. So now I've trimmed that photo down. I'm just going to take it and mount it on the yellow paper. And I did trim not just the sides, but also from the bottom as well. Otherwise, sometimes that proportion gets a little bit wonky, and that's okay, but I didn't like the way the wonky proportion looked here. So now I have this journaling card, and this is ages old. I did a printable from a website at one point. I can't even tell you where from. And it does have that red line on it, which I think would have been okay to leave, but because there is red in like the floral paper and then the teacup paper, but it looked too school-like with the red line, so I'm just going to take that out. And I had done my ATG, and I cut that out for you so you didn't have to watch it. And anyway, it was being a little uncooperative. So I am inking, and I discovered here that there are words in the background of that floral paper, and I had it upside down. So decided perhaps I needed to change that. Maybe no one else would have noticed it, but I knew, and this is going in my scrapbook, so I decided to actually change that. I am inking all the edges, by the way, with my Memento Dewdrop in gray flannel. I like that color a lot, even better than black, just because it's just a little bit softer. And this is a great time to ink edges because it will help delineate patterns from each other. I have 8 different patterns, 9 if you count the little gingham on the card, going on in this layout. And I think just that little bit of ink really helps. Now the cool part about this is so far I have left all of the different papers in of the 6x6 size. So I want something to kind of back this on. See at the top right there, I don't like the fact that those 3 edges are looking like a step, like steps on the top right there. They're laying on the pink right now. So I go back into that Soho Garden paper pad, and I found this black dot, and I like also that it's so dark. It really does a nice job of grounding this whole cluster here. So I think that works out really well. And I'm just kind of taking like estimating there. So it looks like I've stretched the paper across there, which obviously I have not, because it was only a 6x6. But that's an easy way, just hide it behind other things, and then you can stretch your 6x6s. So I used 8 full sheets of that Soho Garden paper here. That's pretty awesome. Again, that was from 2012. I have 10 sheets of that left, so I cut it almost in half doing this layout. Oh, so there you go. I said 8. But again, I have 9 different patterns going on if you look at that little gingham. Now, I decided to do an aqua alphabet here, because that aqua gingham is really front and center there. It's really forward in the layout. So I figured it would help those two things kind of blend together a little bit. But there is aqua in both the floral patterns and the teacup pattern. So it's not that I don't have it in there. And that stripe paper is not big enough for me to quote, kind of set this on. So what I'm going to do here is set it on the line of the black dot paper, which will go across the stripe paper. That's one of those hard things, is how exactly do you do that when you have that going on. And this alpha here is the American Crafts Dear Lizzie Thickers in the Mary alpha. It's old. I didn't buy it that long ago, but it's old. So I'm going to grab I knew I wanted the S to start there and the D to end there. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking my T-square ruler and then I'll be able to, make sure that everything is straight across. And Rachel, I hope you've bought a new T-square ruler. I keep thinking I should just buy one and send it to you, just because the demise of Rachel's poor T-square ruler. Anyway, so I want to call this Showered with Love. That's what I want the layout to be. And I'm thinking I'm going to put it on the top of that yellow paper so it sits on the pattern of the floral, the black and white floral there. But I didn't like the first alpha. I like the fact that the first alpha had dimension, which was a puffy alpha from Elle Studio, but it felt too small. This alpha is just a tiny bit bigger. So this is also Elle Studio. It is the letters and numbers letter stickers in the black. So that's easy. So I'm going to call this Showered with Love. And that one dark flower sat not in a great place, but it's okay. You can read it just fine. Not that big of a deal. If you hear anything in the background, my two cats are fighting, and I'm sorry. They're being naughty. Or actually, my boy cat is being naughty. He likes to pick on his sister. All right. Anyway, back to the layout. So I grabbed these Doodle Pops from Doodlebug. They are the Doodle Pops in Pink Poppy, which they're just from last year. And I grabbed these flags from Bella Boulevard. They're the Bachelorette flags. Now, I have not had them as long. I got them like in a warehouse box, I think last year or the year before. Maybe it was the year before. So that would be 2 years. It needs to go, because I haven't bought a warehouse box from them. They didn't have one last year, I don't think. Or if they did, I didn't buy one. So I grabbed those, and then I have these bows from the Paper Studio, which is Hobby Lobby's brand, the Flea Market Fancy Bright Mini Bright Bows. And this is at least the second pack of these. I love these little mini bows. But I won't be buying any more for a while, because even if I run out, because I am on a spending freeze, I'm having a hard time deciding where that bow should go. Just because I'm seeing both the bottom and the tops of the pins there that are on the flags, and I just stuck the flags into behind one of the leaves, and then didn't really use them to anchor, but used I just used ATG on the back of the flag. Now I have a flare badge from, again, the Paper Studio, Hobby Lobby's Flea Market Fancy, and this is the Beauty and Brains flare pins from 2015. I don't think, again, that I've had these at that long. I think I've had them for maybe a year or so, but they were a year or so and they have not been used. So now at least I've used one. So this is the flare that actually says Beauty and Brains, which I loved for, my friends and I. And what I was doing there, by the way, I was showing you, I was using a button shank remover to take the pin off the back of this. Those are very handy if you don't have them. So now I'm going to use up the rest of these Doodle Pops. Yay for one embellishment being used. I love these. I bought 2 of these because I thought they went well with one of the Schmel collections. I think it might have been Glitter Girl, and I never used them. So I finally used one, I think in October, and now I just used the second one. So yay for using a product. And then I also used all 3 of those Bella Boulevard flags. So that's awesome. I'm thinking I need a little more navy on this layout in the embellishments, because there's a little bit in that Doodle Pop flower. So I'm just going to take those enamel dots from eyelet, outlet, and brads, and add a few of those in. And then I did add the enamel flowers as well in the pink one, and there's a little pink one, and then there was a pink one layered in that bottom cluster, and then that aqua one as well. All right, guys, there's this still shot and a couple of detail shots. Don't forget to go check out Rachel's layout and check out our new series, Stash Bash with Rachel and Kelly, that will premiere on January 1st. Bye, everybody.